Hello my friends. Welcome to the Diary Stories channel. Today, I'm going to share a new exciting story with you, and as always, I'll draw my conclusions and give advice to the main character of this story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and leave your comments. Let's get started. I apologize for needing to unload my thoughts, but I have a suspicion that my wife may be having an affair with my best friend. I recently shared this concern on another website, and it seems that most of the comments agree that there may be something going on. Let me explain further. Several years ago, my best friend went out with a stunning woman he was highly attracted to. He boasted to me that he was going to bang the hell out of her. He introduced me to her, but their relationship only lasted a few weeks before she broke it off. I'm not entirely sure how far things got between them during that time, but I know my best friend is a ladies' man. After their split, I started seeing her more often in the singles scene, and we began hanging out. Eventually, we hooked up, and we are now happily married. We're both in our late 20s, have no children, and both have demanding work schedules. I work from 3 p.m. to midnight, while she works from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. My best friend is still a bachelor and works a similar schedule to my wife's. When my wife and I first started seeing each other, my best friend took it well and even served as my best man at our wedding. However, I've noticed that they are becoming increasingly touchy and friendly with each other. They engage in playful fighting, throwing soft punches at each other, and even tickle each other until one of them begs for mercy. I'm deeply bothered by this behavior and am worried that something more may be going on between them. I'm not crazy to think that my suspicions may be justified, am I? Watching my best friend repeatedly tickle my wife's ribs or her reciprocating by tickling him back always puts me on edge. It's an uncomfortable feeling to see someone else touch your spouse in a way that you would only do. These tickle sessions happen more often than I'd like, and it bothers me. One instance that particularly upset me happened at the beach. A group of us had gone for a swim, but my wife decided to sunbathe on the sand instead. My best friend insisted that she join us in the water, even though it was chilly. He lifted her up in her bikini and carried her into the waves, placing his hands on her bare stomach. She then playfully tried to dunk him under the water, pressing her breasts against his back and wrapping her legs around him. At one point, he held her tightly from behind and slammed her into the water. The whole ordeal felt like forever, even though it was only a minute or two. I was shocked and angry at the sight of my wife, almost fully exposed, wrestling with my best friend in the water. The image stuck with me long after the day ended. It doesn't help that my best friend texts my wife more than he does me. I've caught glimpses of their conversations, and it borders on flirting. I'm not sure if he realizes it or if he's doing it intentionally, but it makes me uncomfortable. One night, we had a small gathering at our house, and I had a little too much to drink. I went to bed early while my wife stayed up with our remaining friends, including my best friend. I woke up at 3 a.m. to use the bathroom and noticed that everyone had left except for my wife and best friend. They were sitting on the sofa, thigh to thigh, with plenty of space available on either side of them. I found it odd that they were sitting so close when there were other seats available. What could they be talking about so late at night that required such close proximity? I suspected that something was off, but I didn't want to make a scene in front of our other friends. The next day, I noticed a small red mark on my wife's shoulder that looked like a hickey. When I asked her about it, she said she didn't know how she got it. The sight of it only fueled my suspicions that something inappropriate was happening between her and my best friend. On one occasion while I was at work, my wife went out with her girlfriends, including one who is a close friend of mine. This friend later told me that my best friend had randomly shown up and flirted with my wife all night. They were even seen dancing together on the dance floor. My friend mentioned that at times they disappeared from the group for 10 to 15 minutes at a time. Although neither of them smoked, I suspected they weren't in the bathroom the whole time. My female friend shared my suspicions about their behavior. When I confronted my wife about her night out, she conveniently failed to mention my best friend's presence. I've been secretly reading my wife's text messages and noticed that they are frequently deleted. Why would they need to delete their conversations? My best friend often invites my wife to hang out with him, and I've seen texts asking her what she's doing tonight. Unfortunately, I work nights on weekdays, so it's difficult to keep track of her. One night, when I came home from work, I noticed empty beer bottles in the recycling bin. My wife doesn't drink beer, and I know I didn't drink any either. My gut feeling tells me that my best friend has been coming over to our house while I'm at work. Despite this, my wife didn't mention anything about the beer bottles when I asked her about her day. At social gatherings, my wife and my best friend always seem to be attached at the hip. I'm starting to feel increasingly uncomfortable with their behavior around each other. It's easy to assume that my wife and my best friend are a couple when they're out together. He always seems to prefer her company over the other single women around, and she in turn prefers to talk to him instead of her own gal pals. One Friday night, while I was at work, my wife went out with some coworkers and had a little too much to drink. She was unable to drive home, so she went through her phone and called my best friend to pick her up. He lives on the opposite side of town, yet she chose him over several other people who lived closer. I've been trying to play it cool, but I can't help feeling suspicious. I've asked my wife if there's anything going on between her and my best friend, and she denies it, saying they're just good friends. However, things have been a little more awkward between us since then, and the texts between them have stopped. I've even had a friend drive by my place a few times while I'm at work to see if he sees my best friend's car, but so far, he hasn't spotted it. I do have a 2-car garage, though, so it's possible he's been parking his car in there. My wife has become more cautious, occasionally going out on Thursday or Friday nights, and I have a strong suspicion that my best friend shows up during these outings. There are so many other incidents I could mention, but I'll stop here. Since my wife has been spending more time with my best friend, my sex life has declined, and I'm starting to feel trapped in my job. I work on the second shift and can't get on the first shift due to seniority, and finding a job that pays close to $25 an hour without a college education is almost impossible. I know that quitting my job could save my marriage, but I'm starting to wonder if my marriage is already over. I'm also constantly asking myself whom my wife would choose, me or my best friend. Every time I see him, I'm reminded of what could be going on behind my back. There's a rift between me and my friend now, and I haven't brought it up with him yet, but I'm sure my wife has. Our friendship is strained due to a girl, and I'm starting to think I'm going crazy. Do you think there's something going on between my wife and my best friend, or am I just paranoid? My conclusion to this story and advice to the author. Open communication. Initiate a sincere and open conversation with your wife about your concerns. Share your feelings, observations, and the impact it's having on your well-being. Honest communication is crucial for understanding each other's perspectives. Seek professional help. Consider couples counseling to address the underlying issues in your marriage. A professional therapist can provide guidance, facilitate communication, and help navigate the complexities of trust and intimacy. Evaluate personal happiness. Reflect on your own happiness and well-being. Consider whether the relationship, job, and friendships are contributing positively to your life. Assessing your personal fulfillment is essential in making informed decisions. Set boundaries. Discuss and establish clear boundaries with both your wife and best friend. Define what is acceptable behavior and express how certain actions make you feel. Setting boundaries can help clarify expectations in relationships. Self-care. Prioritize self-care to manage stress and anxiety. Focus on activities that bring you joy and relaxation, and consider engaging in hobbies or pursuits that contribute to your personal growth and well-being. Trust your instincts. Trust your instincts but also seek rational clarity. If suspicions persist, continue the conversation with your wife and consider professional guidance to navigate the complexities of your feelings. Consider your future. Assess whether the relationship, job, and friendships align with your long-term goals and values. Evaluating these aspects can guide you in making decisions that align with your happiness and fulfillment. Remember, seeking support from friends, family, or professionals can provide valuable perspectives as you navigate these challenging situations. Ultimately, prioritizing your well-being and addressing concerns openly can contribute to a more informed and empowered decision-making process.